Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. It's mailbag time. All of our subscribers, or at least a lot of them, submitted a ton of questions. I pulled the best, 7 or 8 overall, because we only have so much time. I can't just do an hour of questions, but they're really good questions. Some are repeat questions that multiple people put down there, so your answer will probably be given, even if your question was not pulled. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. BL says, do you think we can win the rest of our games with Jalen Hurts and win the NFC East and hope a whole state playoff game at 7, 8, and 1? First off, the answer is yes. Technically, mathematically, the Eagles are very much still alive right now, even though if you look at the current NFC playoff picture, they're nowhere to be found, right? Because obviously Washington is in there. In the hunt, you have the Giants, who technically are a game ahead or a half game ahead of Philadelphia in the NFC East. There's no way to go ahead, like we all know, to make it in as a wild card. You have to win the NFC East, which means you have to probably win out and get a little bit of help from Washington and the Giants as well. So first off, Eagles' final 3 games. You guys know this. Arizona on Sunday. It's probably their most difficult game remaining. You got to win this one. I think that they can win this one. And if you do, it keeps the playoff dreams and hopes alive. You would then need to probably beat Dallas as well. I think it's very doable, especially if Hurts is playing well and the defense is playing well. And that sets up a Week 17 matchup against the Washington football team with a winner-take-all situation. Now, we get to that point not only with the Philadelphia Eagles winning out, but you have to have Washington lose one of their next 2. They got to lose to either Seattle or the Panthers, and then, of course, lose to Philadelphia. If they beat Seattle and Carolina, and Philadelphia also wins out, then the way the numbers work out, again, 6 and 8 right now, or 6 and 7 is where the Washington football team is, then the Eagles would not win the NFC East. So you got to root hard for Seattle on Sunday, and then, of course, the Panthers next week as well. Literally, Russell Wilson jerseys need to go on Sunday. They got to be able to beat the Washington football team, which they should be able to, but Washington's been good. They beat the Steelers. Also, the Giants, they do need to lose at least one of their final 3. Hopefully, the Browns game on Sunday night would be their undoing. If they do that and Philadelphia wins out, then the Eagles, like I said, would go ahead and win the NFC East as long as Seattle wins. So really, it's very simple. Eagles win out, which, next 3 games. We'll see if they can do it. And obviously, Washington loses one of their next 3. Eagles win out, and Washington loses one of their next 3, and the Giants lose one of their next 3, and then boom, you're good to go. The Eagles are NFC champs. I think that they can. I'm feeling like I would put my money on it. Honestly, I feel pretty good about the Eagles' chances here, especially with what we saw from Jalen Hurts. But then again, they could get blown out on Sunday against the Cardinals, and then I come back and say, I was dumb, we're dead, let's get a high draft pick. So, who knows? What do you guys think? Give me your prediction. Who wins the NFC East in the comments section down below. Curious where you guys are at on this. Pick one. Philly, do we feel good? Is it Washington? Is it Giants? Is it somebody else? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. While you're down there, in the description box, there's a link for Fanatics gift cards. Fanatics gift cards to go ahead and pick up Eagle gear for the special somebody in your life. If you don't know if they want a shirt, a jersey, a t-shirt, then just get them a gift card. And do it through us at chatsports.com/gift card. That's the best place to go ahead and pick up one of those to go ahead and, like I said, maybe stocking stuffer, great Santa gift underneath the tree. And that way they can go ahead and pick up whatever gifts they want from the store. Let's go on to Sam. Says, if Wentz was traded this offseason, not that I'm a fan of the move, what could you get in return? What could you see us getting in return? Someone said a 3rd round pick, but we once got a 1st and a 4th for Sam Bradford. Yeah, okay, so first off, a 3rd round draft pick is way too cheap. I would not trade Carson Wentz for a 3rd. I'd trade him for a 2nd or a 1st. But you're right. Let's look at the history of big-name quarterbacks who were traded during the prime of their career. Bradford wasn't in the prime, but you still got a 1st and a 4th. Now, that was a little bit of an overhaul because the Vikings really needed a quarterback that year, and so it kind of makes sense. But a 1st and a 4th for Bradford, you should at least be able to get a 1st. With that being said, for Carson Wentz, how about let's go back a little bit. How about 09, the Jay Cutler Bronco Bear trade, where the Bears got Jay Cutler. Denver gave up 2 firsts to Denver, a 3rd, and Kyle Orton. Now, Jay Cutler was peak of his powers at that point. I think Carson Wentz, coming on the downtrend a little bit, has hurt his chances of getting 2 first-round draft picks. But that, I think, solidifies the chances of a first-round draft pick. And even a mediocre quarterback like Matt Castle was traded for a 2nd, and the Chiefs still got Matt Castle in a player, and the Patriots got a 2nd. So it all comes down to saying that we'll see what happens, and obviously anything can happen. Who knows what his value will be to start the 2021 offseason. But if a team really wants him and they really need him, I think a 1st would go ahead and get it done, especially if Jalen Hurts wins out and is able to squeak his way into the postseason. I've given this list before. I'm going to do an in-depth video on this probably next week or the week after. These, to me, are the top 4 teams that would want to trade for Carson Wentz. We keep hearing Indy and Frank Reich. I think that is easily one, and then the rest are all kind of down there. What about New England? New England not in a good draft position to go ahead and take Any of the top 2 quarterbacks, like, does Bill want to get a rookie, or does he want to get somebody who can win right now that he builds around? That could be Carson Wentz. I think the 49ers, that's been floated around a lot. Kyle Shanahan not sold on Jimmy Garoppolo. They have first-round draft pick. That could work. And then Jacksonville. If Jacksonville wants to get a skill player or an offensive lineman or a pass rusher at 2 overall, and then, of course, get Carson for a second and a future first or whatever it is, the Jaguars could be there as well. I'll ask you guys this. Would you take a first for Carson Wentz? I think you would. I think most of you guys would take a first for Carson Wentz. If you would take a first for Carson Wentz, type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. I want to see what you guys think on this one. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed, because the day Carson Wentz is traded, if he is traded at all, I mean, we're going to be all over it here at Philadelphia Eagles Now. It won't happen until the offseason, but make sure you guys are subscribed now. Also, click the notification bell. That way you're notified when we go to our next and most recent video. Brant says, should Mills come back next year? I think he should, but as a corner. He plays better there, and Maddox should go to safety. What do you think? I honestly agree. I think that the whole Jalen Mills to safety experience hasn't gone poorly, but it's just not gone the way that I think a lot of us wanted it to or thought that it would. And honestly, I would much rather have Mills, like you said, at corner opposite of Slay than Avonte Maddox or anybody else they've rotated in there at the cornerback spot. He's a great tackler. I think he understands both positions very, very well. But I would be all for Jalen Mills going ahead and being the cornerback. It looks like he will be the cornerback on Sunday against the Cardinals, because right now, with obviously Rodney McLeod going down with his injury, and now Avonte Maddox being out for Sunday with the ankle, it'll be Marcus Epps and Kayvon Wallace at safety. Maybe mix in a little Ruby Ford as well. But then you got Mills, Coleman, and Darius Slay at cornerback. So I would expect them to go ahead and play Jalen Mills at corner on Sunday. He's big, he's bigger than, let's say, an Avonte Maddox. So he's big enough to go ahead and go up against Avonte Maddox, or go up, against DeAndre Hopkins. Even though I think we all think that, of course, Darius Slay will be shadowing DeAndre Hopkins, but I do agree. Mills is going to be interesting in how much he wants to command in the offseason next year, but I think bringing him back as a corner option opposite of Slay would make a lot of sense. Brendan says, who do you think is the biggest steal in the right now in the upcoming draft? Let's see here. I think biggest steal is tough. I'm not really into the whole second and third round yet in my pre-draft prep. I've been so focused on the top 10 and really the first round. These are my guys. I keep saying this. My 5 favorite players for Philadelphia right now are Micah Parsons, the linebacker, Jamar Chase, LSU, Jalen Waddle, obviously out of Alabama, Gregory Rousseau from Miami, and honestly, Penny Sewell, the tackle out of Oregon, who probably won't be there past 3 because I think Bengals will take him, but I love him as well. Any one of these 5 makes sense. Honestly, any one of these 5, I'm totally for. Right now, I'm leaning towards Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons. Those are my 2 favorites. You got to see what you want to do at linebacker and wide receiver. I can see arguments for both sides. I want them both. You get them both, that'd be huge, but obviously they can't. So Parsons and Jamar Chase, my 2 favorites. But I'm curious, who's your biggest steal? Do you have a name that you like right now, one I can start studying up on? Because I normally go draft post-off season or post-regular season, so that's when I kind of dive head first. We'll have a lot more draft videos, by the way. But who do you guys want the Eagles to draft? Let me know down below. Let's see. If Hurts leads the Eagles to win the NFC East, does it clinch his spot for 2021? Yeah, I think so. If he wins the NFC East, host a playoff game, and if he were to win a playoff game, for sure. I think they would then trade Carson Wentz without a doubt, and they would ride Jalen Hurts, even if we all don't agree on it. I think if he wins out and makes the postseason and looks good doing it, very real chance he's going to be the starter for 2021. Big Dog says, if we draft in the top 10, would you rather take linebacker Penn State or wide receiver from LSU? Just kind of hit on that. That's tough. Okay, here's my thought process. Let's start with Micah Parsons. Parsons, obviously the best linebacker in the draft. The Eagles have never taken a first-round draft pick on a linebacker, at least not in the past 15, 20 years. You can't remember the last time they did it. He would instantly make this group better, but I also think that the young linebackers Philadelphia has right now, Sean Bradley, T.J. Edwards, I think Alex Singleton, have all played well enough to return in 2021. They're not elite by any means, so maybe you put an elite linebacker like Parsons in there and it makes them better, or you spend it on a wide receiver like Jamar Chase because you feel good about the linebacker spot as a whole. You got to remember, no Alshon Jeffrey most likely next year, no Deshaun Jackson next year. It means you're riding with Travis Fulgham, who's kind of fallen off the face of the earth the past couple of weeks. You're riding with Jalen Reagor, who we don't know what we really have there, and I guess Greg Ward. So I feel like the wide receiver group could need a little bit more help than the linebacker group, so that's why I'm torn on it. Honestly, it can go either way. I don't know which way I want to go on this. I like Chase, but I think he's going to be a superstar. Like, can you imagine Justin Jefferson in the offense right now? Because he's been great with LSU, or with the Vikings. I think that they need to get one more wide receiver, especially if they're going to go with Hurts, or really whatever quarterback they go with, because whatever quarterback they go with needs to have help around him. I've always been saying this for the reason Carson Wentz started to struggle, but if you figure the offensive line comes back healthy, You get a nice wide receiver group. Miles Sanders is ready to rock. I think this can be a scary offense. You just have to get to that point. Now, defensively, they've been up and down this year. Like we said, linebacker is important, but I think you lean wide receiver a little bit here if you're in the top 10, which is still a big if. Matthew says, "Hi, Thomas. So you know Howie isn't doing a good job as a GM for free agency and draft these days. Do you think Jeffrey will get rid of him? If not, would this affect the Eagles in the future?" First off, we talked about this yesterday or 2 days ago in my news and rumor video. If you missed that, go back and watch it. We talk about the whole idea that Howie Roseman is not leaving. The Philadelphia Inquirer has well-placed sources inside the Eagles organization that says Howie Roseman is not going to go ahead and be fired, and Jeffrey Lurie is not going to fire him. So, even though you and I think he's not done a good job, and I think he should be let go, it looks like he's not going to. He will be the GM. I think the question here is Doug Peterson. They have not been sold, and they have not said if they're going to bring back Doug Peterson in 2021. I have no idea what they're going to do. I think if I was going to bet money, all three return. Wentz, well, I think Wentz could be traded, honestly. I think Peterson and Howie Roseman are going to go ahead and return. The question on the wild card to me is Doug Peterson or Carson Wentz, but I think Wentz might be the more expendable piece because how do you fire a Super Bowl winning head coach from 3 years ago that went to the playoffs each of the last 3 years and only this year has struggled in play calling and, of course, with injuries, even though he had injuries last year? Man, it's a tough spot. Tough spot to be in right now, but I think we all need to agree and understand that Howie Roseman is not going anywhere, and he's probably going to go ahead and be the head coach, or excuse me, the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, at least for next year, and he's probably going to have a top 10 draft pick to go ahead and hopefully not mess up like he has done in the past couple of years. There you go. Ultimately, out for today here, making sure I got all my questions. Looks like I did. Listen, great questions this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see what happens on Sunday. I mean, like we said all week, you beat Arizona, you're very much alive for a playoff spot, and Jalen Hurts has a very real chance of, doing some damage and winning some football games and being relevant and potentially winning the starting job in 2021. So we'll see, but I'm excited to see what happens with the Eagles, and we'll obviously be covering it all and breaking it down on Monday. Ultimately, out for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm your host, Thomas Mott, as we go ahead and sign off. Have a great rest of your weekend. Look forward to Christmas next week. Plenty more videos are upcoming, but hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.